Well, it's nice to be having with the webcam back, and holy crap, it's hard to believe it's already week 5. It feels like yesterday was just Packers at Bears, just like every year. Time goes by so fast. But anyways, it's now time for week 5, for my week 5 predictions for the 2019 NFL season. Last week, 6-9. Oh, God. So I can't say all of them were close because there were a lot of them that were blowouts, like the Ravens one. Oh my God, that is pretty damn fucking bad. I think I went 1 and no, it was the last week. I went 1 and 4 in the 4 p.m. games. But Jesus Christ, that is so bad. 2 straight weeks of having bad picks, not really that good, and regressing each week. I can only hope this week will be much, much better. And here is the playoff stands at the season ended today. In the AFC, it's the Chiefs and Patriots with the byes, with the Raiders at the Texans, and the Bills at the Browns. Meanwhile, in the NFC, it's the 49ers and Saints with the byes, with the Seahawks at the Packers, and the Bears at the Cowboys. Oh boy! For my Super Bowl pick, definitely would be the Chiefs. But for the NFC, oh man, that's a tough one to pick. I most certainly don't think it's going to be the 49ers right now. So I haven't really thought about that. So let's ignore that and let's just get into the picks. So we start off the week with Thursday night tonight. A big important matchup in the NFC West with the number 2 seed at the line and maybe the number 1 seed, depending on what happens with the 49ers. As it's the Rams at the Seahawks. As the Seahawks have not beaten the Rams at home since 2016, trying to finally get that win. As remember, both their games last year were really close when they fought out for the NFC West. Meanwhile, the Rams, holy fucking shit, they got destroyed by the Buccaneers. They let Jameis Winston look good. Holy crap, that was unexpected. Damn! A complete and total implosion. And the Seahawks, of course, not only did they beat the Cardinals like they always do down in Glendale, they fucking destroyed them. That was a rare moment right there. Now, of course, as I said, the Seahawks haven't beaten the Rams in home since 2016. Remember, 2 years ago they got destroyed. Now, both games last year were really close. But you know what? The Rams haven't been playing good lately, especially Jared Goff. Well, he has almost as many interceptions as touchdowns. That's definitely not good. Seahawks are playing better, but all their games, other than the Cardinals one, are really close. So this one could go any way, probably. But Seahawks are at home. They're both competitive games last year. The Rams are struggling right now. I'm picking the Seahawks right now. And then we'll see when the Monday night, when the 49ers play, see who if one of these teams will take the lead in the NFC North. NFC West. And then we get to the 1 p.m. games, starting off with a pretty important matchup, outer conference, as the Jaguars are at the Panthers for the first time since 2011, as the Jaguars have not beaten the Panthers in Charlotte since 1999. They haven't beaten them at all since 2007, so they want to end that. So anyways, the Jaguars, wow, made the comeback against the Broncos, as now the Jaguars are starting to look a lot better now. 2-2. They tie everyone in the AFC South, which is incredible. So the AFC South leads up for grabs. Meanwhile, the Panthers, likewise, they were 0-2. Now they won 2 in a row and came back and made right back into the in position for the NFC South and the playoffs at the moment. As this will be the battle of the backups fighting up. It's incredible how Gardner Minshew and Kyle Allen are playing better than Nick Foles and Cam Newton right now. Maybe this will be a new era for both of them. Now, of course, this was a tough one to pick because the Jaguars are looking much better, but so are the Panthers. And the Panthers are at home, but I don't know. I really don't know about this one. And you know what? From what I've seen, I'm actually going to pick the Jaguars in an upset once again, like the second week in a row or third week in a row I did that. And then it's the Cardinals at the Bengals for the first time since 2011, as the Bengals are trying to avoid 0-5 for the first time since 2008, as the Cardinals are trying to beat the Bengals in Cincinnati for the first time since 2007. As the Cardinals, they got destroyed by the Seahawks, unusual because usually those games are defensive as hell, but as always, they can't beat the Seahawks in Glendale, but they can always beat the Seahawks in Seattle, surprisingly. Meanwhile, the Bengals, yeah, you got the first 3 points, but then you let the Steelers score 27 unanswered points. Oh, God. That was really bad. Atrociously bad. And, of course, this is a battle between very bad teams, and this one is really difficult to predict. But I guess maybe an upset. I'm picking the Cardinals once again. My expectations probably way too high on them after that first game, but I just don't really fully trust the Bengals, especially after that complete and utter collapse they had against the Steelers last week. And then it's the Falcons at the Texans for the first time since 2011, as the Falcons have never beaten the Texans in Houston, so they want to try and finally do it after 17 years. As whoever was the home team in this series, they won it. Meanwhile, the Falcons... Oh, God! Are they really going to be playing like this like last year, but without all the injuries? Oh, God. I guess last year was just the omen of what this rest of the years are going to be. Oh, Christ. Meanwhile, the Texans, the Panthers put you in your place with a defensive effort. That's why you need to fix that offensive line for Deshaun Watson, for God's sake. Jesus Christ, that was terrible. Oh, boy, these two are struggling. But you know what? In an upset, I'm actually going to pick the Falcons for this one. They have a pass rush that can get to Deshaun Watson, and even though Matt Ryan's struggling, he's probably going to be playing a lot better than Kyle Allen would, so I'm actually going to pick the Falcons for this one. Watch the Texans show up and actually beat them, though. And then it's a big battle for the NFC South on the line, believe it or not, as the Buccaneers are at the Saints, as the Buccaneers, remember last year, beat the Saints on the road, that incredible 48-40 game. As the Buccaneers, they destroyed the Rams last week. That was incredible! How much impressive performance they've done. So far this year, they're winless at home, but they're undefeated on the road. That's something the Saints should really be worried about. Meanwhile, the Saints, in a defensive effort, actually gave the Cowboys their first loss of the year. As right now, after 2 games, Teddy Bridgewater is doing just enough for them to hopefully play good enough for Breeze to come back. This game is going to be interesting as hell. Will the Road Warrior Buccaneers show up at the Saints' inopportune moment to struggle? I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. But I'm going to pick the Saints for this one, because I'm not fully trusted of Jameis Winston, especially after that defensive performance the Saints put up last week against Dak and the Cowboys. I'm picking the Saints, but I guess I won't be surprised either if the Buccaneers somehow get it. And then we get to another big NFC matchup, as the Vikings are at the Giants for the first time since 2013, as the Vikings are trying to beat the Giants in New York for the first time since 2007, as the Vikings, oh God, of course, you can't trust them this year. When they're at home, they are unstoppable, but when they're away, they are absolute dog shit, and Kirk Cousins, oh God, is playing so bad this year compared to last year. Maybe this could be his last year, perhaps, the way he's playing right now. Meanwhile, the Giants, hey, the Daniel Jones era began, and they're now 2-2, undefeated within his tenure, although he did not play good against the Redskins last week. It just so happens that the Redskins played worse this last week. Seeing how the Giants have had a little bit of a resurgence, and the Vikings have been absolutely terrible on the road, I'm picking the Giants for this one. But watch all of a sudden the Vikings, after they win one, they lose one. Win one, lose one. This is their opportunity to maybe win one. Watch, they'll probably fucking do it. And then we get to our first London game of the year, as it's the Bears at the Raiders for the first time since 2011. Hi, Khalil Mack. I'm sure the Raiders would like to see you destroy them and get some revenge on them. On you for letting let you go to the Bears. That was still such a bad move for them to do that. Meanwhile, the Bears got a nice defensive effort win against the Vikings, although Mitchell Trubisky, I think, is out for this week, unfortunately. But as long as you got that defense, you're probably in good hands, especially when you're playing the Raiders, who are nowhere near as good as you. Meanwhile, the Raiders, holy crap, they actually beat the Colts on the road. That was quite impressive, but of course, still laugh after this week. 35-10 suspended for the season. Serve your ass right, it was long overdue. Now, of course, the Raiders, that was quite an impressive victory against the Colts. But now you're not in an actual home environment, because London's not really your home whatsoever. And you're going up against one of the best defenses in the league, even with their hobbled, especially without Trubisky. Nah. I think the Bears are going to easily get this. And then it's an out-of-conference matchup, as the Jets are at the Eagles for the first time since 2011, as the Jets are trying to avoid a 0-4 for the first time since 2003, and finally beat the Eagles for the first time ever. They've never beaten the Eagles. Holy shit. Meanwhile, the Jets, of course, were on their bye last week, as we saw them got destroyed by the Patriots last week. I have absolutely no idea if Sam Darnold's going to be playing this week, but then again, it honestly probably doesn't matter whatsoever. Meanwhile, the Eagles, that was a very impressive game victory against the Packers last week. On the road, that was much better. Now, if you play like that, maybe you can salvage your season, maybe make a playoff run, still maybe try and win the NFC East. Now, of course, Eagles might be struggling, but come on, seriously, they got to host the Jets, who might not even have Sam Darnold. They're crap whatsoever. I'm picking the Eagles for this one. But watch, all of a sudden they absolutely collapse like they've struggled this entire season so far at home, and the Jets somehow get it. Then we get to a big AFC North matchup, and oh boy, of course, the best rivalry in the league for me, at least, as it's the Ravens at the Steelers, as whoever wins this will have the second seed in the AFC North, but depending on what happens with the Browns, maybe number 1. So anyways, the Ravens, oh God. I know, of course, like I've said before in last week, the Ravens always struggle usually when they host the Browns, but it's bad enough that you lose, but you got blown out. That's not whatever happens when you host the Browns. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And of course, they're all blaming Lamar. No, it was the defense, not the offense that choked. It was the defense. Oh my God, they let Nick Chubb run all over them. Meanwhile, the Steelers, that was a very important victory against the Bengals that finally end their losing streak, as they finally got a win on this one. And of course, this will be the first game Lamar Jackson plays against the Steelers. That will be interesting. And of course, the Ravens won the last time they visited the Steelers. And the Ravens surprisingly put up a better effort when they visit the Steelers than when they host them, if you look at their history. And of course, although the Ravens struggled and the Steelers had such an impressive win last week, I'm actually going to still pick the Ravens for this one. And then we get to a big AFC matchup for a wildcard spot at the moment, as the Bills are at the Titans for the first time since 2012, as this is the first time the Bills are going to try and beat the Titans down there since 1994, back when they were the Houston Oilers. That's how long it's been since the Bills beaten the Titans on the road. As the Bills, wow, they put up a really impressive effort against the Patriots. They made Brady look terrible, but of course, being the Bills, they still can't win despite the impressive performance, as their offense put up 5 turnovers. Oh, God. And now, of course, Josh Allen's injured. Who knows how long he'll be gone? Oh, Christ. And, of course, the Titans, once again, as always the case for the last bunch of years, the Titans are inconsistent. One week they can destroy a team, the other week they look terrible. How hard is it, Titans, to be fucking consistent? How hard is it? Because you really are, in terms of how you've played this year, probably the best team in the AFC South right now, but you're freaking 2-2 because you keep not showing up pretty much. Oh, boy. This will be interesting. Let's see how Marcus Mariota does against the Bills' incredibly good defense, especially since we saw how they lost last year. But I'm picking the Titans for this one. But watch, the Titans, as they always do, not show up and let the Bills win this minus Josh Allen. And then it's the Patriots at the Redskins for the first time since 2011, as the Patriots are trying to go 5-0 for the first time since 2015, and the Redskins are trying to avoid 0-5 for the first time since 2001, as the Redskins haven't beaten the Patriots since 2003 when they last hosted them. That was the last loss the Patriots got in 2003. Oh boy, the Patriots. That was impressive that you got away with that win against the Bills because your defense showed up, as Brady looked absolutely terrible. Meanwhile, the Redskins, after that solid start for the first 2 games, they've looked terrible this last few weeks. And I'm not sure if, God damn it, his name, Dwayne Haskins, I can't remember his name. His name always never comes to my head for some reason. The Redskins rookie QB, he might be starting this week, not fully sure, but although I must remind you all, the Redskins actually play good when they host the Patriots. Remember, like I said, they beat them last time when they hosted them in 2003 and then 2011. They almost did beat them. So, the Patriots, do not underestimate the Redskins. Yes, they're 0-4, not looking good, but don't underestimate them. But I'm still going to pick the Patriots for this one. But watch the Redskins show up and actually get it. And then we get to our 4 p.m. games. There are only 2 of them. Starting off with the Broncos at the Chargers. And if the Broncos lose this and go to 0-5, It'll be the first time ever in their 59-year history they go 0-5. That is absolutely incredible. As the Broncos, oh my God, Joe Flacco led the comeback again, but your defense choked and let the Jaguars get out with a win. Oh my God. The Broncos so far this year, in my eyes, have been the most disappointing team in the AFC. I don't think it's even close. It's been really bad. Meanwhile, the Chargers destroyed the Dolphins, and they said they got their first win in Miami since 1981, although that was a playoffs. I wonder how it was for the regular season. But yeah, that was a needed victory. And of course, now this shouldn't be too hard for Chargers, but don't forget you lost last time to the Broncos because you choked when you host them. So I wouldn't underestimate them, especially since they're in desperate mode now to avoid going 0-5 for the first time ever. I'm picking the Chargers though for this one, but don't underestimate the Broncos. And then we get to the big NFC matchup with the number 2 seed on the line, depending on what happens with the 49ers. This could be a number 1 seed possibly, as the Packers are at the Cowboys for the first time since 2017, as the Cowboys finally got their win streak ended. Actually, both these teams had their win streaks ended last week in a defensive effort against the Saints as their offense looks so terrible. Hey, that's what happens when you play an actual good team, unlike the previous 3 games you played. Meanwhile, the Packers, wow, the Eagles actually beat you at home. That was kind of embarrassing and unexpected. Now, of course, remember, the last 2 times they played in the regular season, 2016, the Cowboys spanked you in Lambeau. And then, of course, you got your revenge in the divisional round of the playoffs. And then, of course, in 2017, last time you played, the same result happened again. The Packers took a late touchdown lead. This game will be very interesting as hell. And it's going to be very close. Will the Packers have their 3-0 start imploded and finally start to come back down to reality, maybe not be a good team? Or will the Cowboys show up, maybe, and actually play good against a good team? I'm not sure, but seeing how history is, I'm actually going to pick the Packers for this one. And then we get to Sunday night, as it's a rematch of the divisional round playoffs from last year, as it's the Colts at the Chiefs for the first time since 2013, as the Chiefs are trying to go 5-0 for the 3rd year in a row, as the Colts haven't beaten the Chiefs since that 2013 game in Kansas City. They want to try and get that again. Meanwhile, the Colts, you lost to the Raiders at home. Oh my God, that is absolutely embarrassing. And they have not really played that good overall this year. Honestly, if you look at their how they've played this year, they could easily be 4-0 and 0-4 at the same time. So they're kind of lucky that they're 2-2, pretty much. Oh boy. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, wow, the Lions shut down on Patrick Mahomes, not allowing a single touchdown for him to throw, but in the end, the Chiefs still managed to make a close comeback. That was a really good performance they did. And of course, we saw last year when the Chiefs destroyed the Colts when they hosted them, and the Colts are not looking as good as they did last year right now. I'm picking the Chiefs for this one. It's kind of obvious. And then we get to Monday night, of course, a reference to the 100th anniversary, as it's the Browns at the 49ers for the first time since 2011, as the 49ers are trying to go 4-0 for the first time since 1990. That's how long it's been since they've been 4-0. As this is a reference because the Browns and 49ers were in the AFC, the league, before they joined the NFL back in the 40s, and they were the only 2 good teams in that league. Meanwhile, the Browns, coming off after destroying the Ravens on the road. Like I said, you always do good when you visit the Ravens, but a blowout? That was completely unexpected. Good job on them for doing that. Meanwhile, the 49ers beat the Steelers. Oh my God. Oh God. You have 5 turnovers done on you, and you still somehow win. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. You are so lucky to win that one. Now, of course, will the 49ers show up? Or will the Browns actually, after beating the Ravens, maybe that could be like a momentum changer for them to run away, start with the NFC North, because as long as they keep winning out right now, they'll have the lead in that division. But I'm not fully sold on the Browns yet, even though, funny enough, they are undefeated on the road, and they are dominant on the road, whereas they struggle at home. I'm still going to pick the 49ers for this one. So those are my picks for Week 5. I cannot wait for Rams and Seahawks tonight and all the other games. Hopefully this week's results for me will be much better too.